Here we go. As per usual. There we are.
Let me turn this blind.
We're live. We're live. Well, we're going to find out. Good morning, first of all. Thanks for joining Saturday Morning Live. Nicky Mac, good morning. Good morning. I'm going to get my glasses out, Nick. Nick, this is where I keep my glasses. Thanks for joining. That's where I keep my glasses on Jeffrey. So I'm going to need them at some point. It's been a bit hectic this morning, to say the least. First of all, if you can hear me and it's coming through good, because I rely on you guys to help me through this process, because it's difficult, doing live feeds at any time is difficult. Talking to the public is always difficult as well. So here we go. Thanks for joining the live feed. We've got hopefully a couple of guests joining us this morning, which is exciting. It's not easy getting people to join us on these live streams. It's not everybody wants to come on, and not everybody wants to be in front of a camera. That's why we give the option of people being able to phone in, and just breaks it down a little bit. Audio, good quality. Thank you, Nicky Mac. Nicky, thanks for joining. Got 8 live viewers at the moment. This will go out later on as well, and it's not necessarily about getting the live viewers on here initially. We're back at it. The sunshine, it's out and it's returned for a little while. Let's just hope that it stays a little bit longer. I've got my branded top on. I just wanted to show you my green top logo. There it is. This is got 2 logos, because the other logo that we have, we can't get it on the t-shirt. It's probably too big. So when you're going down the road of designing a logo, you have to consider these. Alan Backshaw, good morning, Alan. Good to see you on here. Alan, one of our regular viewers all the way up there in Scotland. Good to get you on here, Alan. How's the weather where you are? Look, I don't want to sort of go on about the weather. I don't want this to be totally boring and being a bore fest, but this is about you, and it's not just about me. It's about the landscaping community, and it's about the consumer and how we can make things better. And by sharing knowledge, we're able to share it on this platform, and people can come on here and have their opinions. Let me just scroll up there and just see who's joined us. Saturday morning, we've been out walking this morning. We've walked the dogs. We've come back. We're always excited to do these. Gareth Jones, good morning, Gareth. How are you, mate? Good to see you. It's great to see people coming on and joining now. It's so important that we do this. Okay, it's so important. It's a way of staying connected. And for those, Dan Cooley's joined us. Lawn and Order there in Southampton. Dan, I did give you a ring this morning. I was hoping to get you on here, and we'll be able to do it again. I'll tell you now, this little platform is gathering a little bit of momentum and a little bit of traction. There's going to be a lot of people that want to join these live streams, because they want to get their product out there, but also they want a chance to vent. They want a chance to explain themselves and talk about the things that are important to them. Sat in the office doing a quote this morning. Dan, I hope that you put 10% on for me. Now, how many of you guys are getting your pricing right? And you need to get your pricing right for you, but also for the consumer and your customers, your client base. And sometimes if you're not getting the pricing right, and the last thing that the customer wants is a little bit of a shock at the end, because you haven't told them about certain elements, the little extras. Dan Cooley says 15 cents minimum for you, mate. No problem at all. Yeah, Dan, it's so important to get the pricing right, isn't it? It's such probably the most important part of the job. You've got to deliver the job, but you've got to get the pricing right. And the detail in the criteria, okay, the devil in the detail is in the quote, isn't it? Making sure you deliver on everything that you say that you're going to do. If you give a little bit more, that's entirely up to you. Quoting takes me ages, says Nicky Mac, all new to me. Where do you start? Well, It's simple, really. It really is simple. You mentioned a porcelain driveway in a video the other day. Any more details? Is it your first one? No, it wouldn't be my first one. We did one a long time ago, but I haven't got no pictures of that one, Gar. But it needs to be laid on concrete. Okay, we just changed from. This is what happens when people start asking questions, which is great. First, know your cost before you do things. This is wonderful. Now, this is what it's about. When Dan has responded straight away to Nicky Mack, and that's what it's about, because I can't get all the information out that quick. Yeah, you've got to know all your costs initially. And of course, it's how you live, okay? How you live, what you spend, how many cars you drive, do you go on expensive holidays? If you don't, then your quote can be a little bit cheaper. That's what it's all about. It's all relevant to you. And I've talked about this before, that we can have our own method on price per square meter. That's absolutely fine. We can have our own price on price per square meter. And that in itself, is great, because we know how much we have to pay for our paving, how much we pay for our sand, our sub base, etc. But we got to know our value ourselves, and we got to know where we live, what cars we drive, how we eat, how we wine and dine, etc., etc. It all goes on. It's good to see Nicky exchanging there with Dan, because this information that we have is so important. Because we just lease it, okay? It's we need to share it. We'll have a caller calling in this morning, but this morning I wanted to get out. I've been using for a while. I've been using this aero board, but in answer to Gareth Jones' question about the driveway, and I'm really intrigued about this doing a driveway, but it just needs to be laid on concrete. You have to probably put some reinforcing mats in the concrete to ensure that you've got a rigid system, because you'll see it all too often with a flexible driveway system when you're having a block paved drive. When you're having a block paved drive, just get rid of that there. When you're having a block paved driveway, it's a flexible system. It always can be adjusted. But when you've got wheels tracking, when you get the tracking in a block paved driveway, you'll get that depression, okay? And it's just not good at all. So you're not going to necessarily have that with a porcelain, but you don't want your porcelain to start moving. And also you've got to make sure the porcelain is adhering to your concrete. Kuram Cowdrey, local, I hope I said that right, Kuram. Kuram Cowdrey says, local pavement supplier to me is supplying 30mm porcelain tiles for driveways and 20mm for patio. I would like to see that. I would like to see what you're actually doing there. Watch the podcast daily running costs. So starting from the unbuilding. Yeah, absolutely. Kuram says about the 3cm. It's massive in America. They're using 3cm out there, 30mm, and that's a valid point, Kuram. Kuram, if you could send me a link on that, and if you could send it to through an email, info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. I'd like to have a look at that. Could you lay an easy click on, or is that flexible? You can use an easy click system. The beauty about the easy click system is that it can be adjusted at any time, and it can be repaired. And all, of course, with it like easy base, that easy click system aspects have, that you're able to implement it quite quick and not go too deep. But you've got to make sure you use geotextile underlay. Alison's answer. This is what we're going to be talking about next week. I'm going to show you now. This is the aero board. This is the decking board from BSW Aero Board, Aero Timber. Incredible technique. They use this old Japanese method for preserving the wood, and then they put this Rubio monocoat cream on the top. But look at how the grain pops. And the reason the grain pops is because it's how it's burned, okay? When it burns, when you're burning it, when you use that old method, that shosugi ban or yakisugi, when you burn it, you're burning all the soft elements, and the ridges is normally the harder part, and the indentations is the softer part. It is a stunning product, Dan, absolutely. It comes in 14 different colors. We've just launched a accredited installer scheme with BSW. And we spoke to Neil Horton in the week. Neil was so kind to come on the Landscape and Survival Forum, and he spoke about price increases. Price increases. It was so important that he wanted to explain the reasons where their price increases come from. So a massive thanks to Neil Horton of BSW. We are going to be getting Neil Horton to join this podcast hopefully next week, and he can tell you everything about BSW and their products, whether it's the Timeless Sleeper or whether it's their post, their incised post. If any of you know what incised mean, incised post. So when you get those 4x4s, the incised, of course, they're cut into the post to get the tantalizing treatment, the pressure treatment, deeper down into the 4x4. So sad, isn't it, through COVID, that we haven't been able to have any meetups simply because social distancing. But we're looking to get a meetup in Scotland at Dalbeatty in Scotland, and that's the BSW branch. And from harvesting the products in the fields to the shop floor, you'll be able to follow that process of how their products are made. And certainly this sample, you see, this is one I've been using. This sample is so important as well. Make sure you when you're doing it, you cover the end grain. Incredible product, absolutely incredible product. 14 different colours, and so interesting. The ox is on here. Our porcelain patio laid in November. Why is the natural grey grout staining even after cleaning? Looks dirty. Well, there's a reason for that. Oh, we got a call coming in. Let's have a look. We'll get back on that. Let's see if we can take this call. Hello. 1 second. Audio. Right, we'll just get you on Bluetooth. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There we go. We're going to just maybe turn you down a little bit. Well, good morning. Who we got here?
Ryan Boots from Elemental Inks and Chemicals.
Right. What's the name of that company, Ryan?
Elemental Inks and Chemicals.
Right, okay. Ryan, I just want to sort of just make our viewers now that are watching this and are going to watch this later on, you know me, don't you?
Yeah.
And where do you know me from?
You laid the porcelain patio in my garden.
And whilst we were there, you cooked for us many times, you and your lovely wife. And we got to say congratulations to you and Rebecca. When's the baby due?
9th of May.
9th of May. I hope you didn't mind me sharing that, because we just want to share.
No, of course not.
During this COVID period, Ryan, it's things are difficult, and it's always good to hear good news. Ryan?
Yeah, it's great. It's come as a good time for us, really. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Well, fantastic. Look, Ryan, I've got to say, we had it was great working for you guys. Really enjoyed it. It was you're such nice people. Not just nice, you're really pleasant people, and you definitely valued your landscaper being there, and we appreciate that. And it just went a long way for us as a family, as a business, and as work colleagues working for you. But we had a conversation when we were there, and we were talking. We got some viewers on here talking about porcelain. Your background is chemistry. You run a business, and we talked about sealers, didn't we?
Yeah.
And the importance of, like, for example, obviously porcelain's trending now, but obviously sandstone has a high porosity value, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those markets now that's obviously booming, as you know. But there's a lot of sort of misinformation out there, and for you guys as landscapers, it must be difficult to sort of find your way into what you want to be using and the correct materials for the job.
Yeah, Brian, it's definitely, without a doubt, as a landscaper's a multidiscipline business. Whether we're doing brickwork, timber work, or paving, or or doing ponds, that sort of stuff. But it's so ambiguous when a customer will say to you, "Will you seal my patio? Do we pre-seal? Do we after seal?" Well, obviously, we've looked at this. You and I, we spoke about this. But tell us a little bit more about why the importance of sealing really is to keep it clean, isn't it?
Well, porcelain aside, stone is obviously a natural product. Stone itself is quite happy outside. It doesn't need to be sealed for it to last as long as you want it to last. The reason you're sealing it is for yourself or for the customer to keep it clean, to keep it looking the way it was the day you laid it, and to ensure the longevity of the product, I suppose.
Yeah, to keep the look, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, but you've got to be careful. There's a couple of different types of sealers. You've got true sealers, which is basically applying a coating on the top of the stone, or you've got impregnating sealers, which is the one that I would recommend because you're not introducing an artificial surface. I don't see there's no point spending thousands of pounds on a beautiful patio to then introduce a man-made surface to the top of it.
So
you're also
for our viewers now, can we just go back a bit? There are two types of sealer: an impregnating sealer and the other sealer.
This is a true sealer. It's basically just applying a coating on the surface of the stone,
like a varnish, really.
Very similar. You're basically introducing an artificial surface. So, whereas with an impregnating sealer, it will penetrate into the stone and change the internal chemistry of the stone.
Right.
A sealer, in its true form, will basically create a coating on the surface of the stone.
Right. So, as the sealer goes, so really, we're really saying then that the best sealers are impregnating sealers, so they get 100%. right the way down. Now,
look, they change the internal chemistry without changing the visual effects or making it look like you've sealed your patio.
Look, Ryan, you and I, we had a conversation about this many times, and to try and understand the science is not easy for anyone, but obviously what you're talking about is actual facts, aren't you? You're talking about the way to seal correctly and the science behind it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously patios are outside, they're in very wet environments, and it's very difficult for you to ensure that the patio is going to be 100% dry before you seal it. So an impregnating sealer will allow moisture in both directions. It'll allow for expansion, contraction, changes in temperature, and it'll sit there for a couple of years probably before you need to reseal, potentially longer depending on the environment that it's in.
Yeah.
With a sealer, as in a coating on the surface, because you are 100% covering the surface, any moisture that's still inside, you're trapping it in there, which is very bad for the stone. Obviously, again, changes in temperature, you get thermal expansion, and that's where you get issues with potentially cracking. Obviously, you guys deal with efflorescence a lot, which is a bit of an issue, but you can clean it off.
Right. Okay.
If you've got a coating on the surface, you get something called subfluorescence, which basically means you've got the efflorescence, but it's trapped and you can't get rid of it. So then you've got a really ugly patio slab.
So
something that's obviously going to cause you issues with your customers.
So subfluorescence, how do you get rid of that then, Ryan?
You can't really. Subfluorescence is basically mineral deposits that work their way up to the top of the stone, but never penetrate the surface. So they just sit slightly below the surface of the stone, so you can't really, aside from potentially grinding the stone back to remove it, it's not. You probably just have to replace the slab.
So it's like that wicking effect. It's drawing the minerals up, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So the water is rising with the temperature, and the efflorescence will penetrate the surface, and you can just basically clean it off. The subfluorescence will sit just below the surface of the stone, and then you can never remove it.
Do you know, it all sounds complicated, but having been in this industry fast approaching 37 years, one of the biggest problems that you have in this industry, you've done a fantastic job. The client's happy. You've turned up. It's all going good. You're ready for that point in. And years ago, we would use sand and cement, and then we were always up against the weather. So if do we pre-seal, and do we pre-seal, or do we seal the back of the slab as well, Ryan?
It depends on the product that you're using. I mean, for sandstone, it's a sedimentary rock. It's naturally very porous. The back of the slab and the front of the slab are made of the same material. They're of the same chemistry. So, yeah, sealing 100% of the slab before you lay it is obviously the easiest way to go, because you prevent the dirt when you're walking over it with your muddy boots, or staining from grout, etc. If you've got the time to pre-seal, then great. But if not, one thing that people don't do, and is really important, is you should always seal your grout as well. Your grout is a porous material, so
right. Okay, this
when you
is
see patios, the first place that algae and moss build up tends to be your grout lines.
yeah. So a lot of these grouting systems now, as sleek as they look, you know, when we grout inside a house, or a tiler and grouts on the inside, we're not exposed to the elements like we are on the outside, are we?
No, exactly. But
So-
your grout will still change colour inside your house as well as your outside.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand that, yeah, obviously, because the grouts generally are cementatious grout systems, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's very. I on your landscape survival group the other day, I saw somebody asking that it was ambiguous on a bottle. It didn't say whether you could use it on grout, but yeah, I think that is one of the most important things. That's the first place that you're going to get your algae, your moss.
So really,
Sealing your grout.
really, this conversation now is what we're trying to do is to avoid those problems before and after. And there's a lot for a landscaper to understand, isn't there, Ryan?
Yeah, it is a chemical environment. I mean, you're dealing with natural products, you're dealing with man-made products, you're dealing with lots of different chemicals day to day.
Right.
Yeah, understanding what you're doing with them is really, really important. Again, porcelain. Porcelain is probably the only stone that you would lay that's not a natural product. It's a man-made product.
Right.
It's non-porous, but the surface, the decorative part of your porcelain patio has micropores in it. So you almost need to treat a porcelain slab almost the way you would your car, which sounds really weird, but your car gets dirty over time. And if you don't polish your car over time, the more difficult it is to clean.
Right.
If you
Okay.
think of the surface of your porcelain patio, although it looks perfect, it has micropores on the surface.
Yeah.
And that's where your dirt will get trapped. The same in your car. You have imperfections in the paintwork of your car.
So there's microspores in the porcelain as well. Yeah.
Micropores, yeah. If you basically, the way the sealer will work is the impregnating sealer will fit into the micropores, and then it will basically stop the dirt from getting stuck in the pores.
Okay. So, but it's like anything, right? It needs to be maintained. But the point I want to pick up and go back to very quickly now is that so you've got a nice porcelain patio. It's just been laid. It's been grouted with one of those sleek looking grout systems. And also we got to remember is like these contractors got to make sure that the grout systems they're using are also suitable for the porcelain. Now, industry tell us that porcelain has a 0.02% porosity value, which is very minimal, but you get full-bodied porcelain, you get glazed porcelain, and you get matte porcelains. And I've seen matte porcelains with the water you can get very badly made porcelain. So a lot of these guys and girls are out there that are laying porcelain, and it's not necessarily the best porcelain, and they're the ones that there's no doubt about it. They need sealing, don't they?
Yeah, it is. It's different to sandstone and sedimentary rock, where you'll get the pores and they'll go all the way through.
Right.
So
Okay.
they'll go from the top of the slab to the bottom of the slab. With a porcelain slab, you'll get micropores, which will go a certain distance into the slab, but not all the way through. And that is where you'll get your dirt trapped, and that's why it makes it porcelain patio very difficult to clean once it becomes dirty.
Right. I got to ask, Ryan, will you be sealing your patio?
Definitely, yeah. Once the weather changes.
And why, when the weather changes? Why? Just can you explain?
You got to get out there and obviously make sure it's clean first. Wash the surface, get it all clean, and then ideally you'd want a couple of dry days, if not a couple of weeks, for the patio to dry out all the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you seal.
Ryan, like we're talking about this now, the thing is as well, we got to understand is that when we start digging up a garden, we start putting a patio in a garden, what you're doing, you're pushing back in effect the volume of water that would normally sit in that garden that's going to be concentrating on the edge of your patio, and in some cases underneath as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to be careful, because water exerts a huge amount of pressure when it's trying to come to the surface.
Right. Okay.
With sandstone, as long as you don't seal the pores, it'll come through slowly. It'll just wick its way up through the stone and come out naturally.
Yeah.
But if you seal a sandstone patio, it will work its way into the stone and then it'll get trapped. It'll exert pressure, and that's where you get cracking and you gripe cracks and you get lifting of slabs and that sort of thing.
You get the delamination effect then, don't you, as well?
Exactly, yeah. It's different with a porcelain patio because the bottom of a porcelain slab is 100%.
Yeah, what we're talking about now, and I understand this, because we're talking about like hydrostatic pressure, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots of things to take, but you've experienced, you've had your patio laid, we've come along, and you've invested you've put your money into it, your hard-earned money, and then it's looking great, and then all of a sudden things start happening for whatever reason. So, but we need to maintain it, but we need to understand as contractors and also as members of the public, we have to explain the importance of sealing, or the importance of using certain types of materials in certain aspects as well, don't we?
Yeah, it's a wild environment really to make the decisions on what you want to do, because obviously you're doing it for other people. You're making decisions for your customers, which is potentially risky. I mean, I would always recommend an impregnating sealer because of the way they work. But if somebody decided they want a really high gloss wet look, because a lot of your customers probably do want wet look patios.
Yeah.
And they opt for a coating sealer. You've got to be a patio is a highly warped environment. You put patio furniture on it, you might have a patio heater, you might have a gazebo. And if you drag a patio chair back with a coating sealer, you might take the surface off.
Yeah, absolutely.
You remove the surface of that area, then susceptible to getting dirty.
Again, like that varnish effect, isn't it?
Yeah, with anything, if you've got an abrasive surface rubbing on the top of the patio slab, you remove the coating, then you get dirt.
Right, okay.
With an impregnating sealer, it changes the internal chemistry of the slab, and then it means that the patio slab is protected from the inside out.
Right, I got to say, mate, this in some respects, this is going to appear and sound very interesting and intriguing with a lot of people, but with some, it's going to be a lot of goggly goop, but there's a lot of evidence behind it. When I was talking to you before, we talked about solvent and water-based sealers and the fixing agents in these sealers.
Yeah, so you have solvent-based systems and water-based systems. Basically, the way it works is the solvent carries the chemical, and then over time, the solvent, whether it be water or a true solvent, will evaporate.
Right.
With a solvent-based system rather than a water-based system, you'll get better penetration into the slab, which is very important because obviously the deeper the chemical goes into the patio slab, the more protected it is, basically.
So the solvent impregnating sealers tend to go further down then?
They'll go deeper, yeah.
Right, okay. And
the other thing is they allow you to build up coats. You can have more than one coat with a solvent-based sealer.
Unlike a water-based?
Yeah, because a water-based sealer, once the water evaporates and leaves the chemical, that chemical is then protecting you from water. So you can't add another coat because it will basically repel itself.
Right. There you go then. So, but the first thing that somebody's going to think of when a contractor suggests a water-based breathable sealer, it sounds healthy, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the water-based systems use surfactants to stabilize them, and those surfactants are very harmful to aquatic environments. So, although a solvent might sound nasty, it is much better for the environment than the surfactants that are used in water-based systems.
And you call it a surfactant?
Yeah, it's basically a chemical that's added into the water that allows the water to keep the chemicals in solution.
Do you know, Roy, like I told you before, this sounds so fascinating, but, as contractors, we got to start understanding this and sort of getting to the bottom of this. Would you be interested in maybe when we can, when we're allowed to, is to do some demonstrations and talk about it, and talk about using some porcelain or some stone and just see, can we seal things, some stuff? Can we do that sort of?
Yeah, of course. You come down the laboratories and have a look.
Oh, we can come to the laboratory.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Ryan, this is so important to try and understand this part, because this is you lay that patio, it's all looking good, and then the customer phones you back and they've got all these microspores that have ingressed into their cementatious grout, and it's all gone green. The porcelain's looking good. The contractor's told the customer that your porcelain's never going to have to be changed. It doesn't need any maintenance. But the fact is, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, porcelain is a man-made material.
Right.
But once it gets dirty, it's difficult to clean. Same with sandstone.
Right, okay. Do you know, right, go on, sorry.
No, I was just saying, the other thing you need to consider with natural occurring stones, sedimentary and metamorphic, so sandstones or granites or slates, is iron deposits. You'll always get iron, naturally occurring iron in natural materials, but iron will sit there invisible for a long time and then eventually oxidize over time, and then you'll get basically rust deposits in your slab.
Yeah, I've seen that.
If you seal your slab completely across the top, how do you get rid of your iron deposit? Very, very difficult.
Right, okay. So so any of our viewers watching this morning, be you a contractor or a potential customer, they have to think about what they're having installed in their garden, don't they?
You've got to think of the long term. If you're putting something outside for, well, hopefully 10 to 20 years, depending on how long you leave it there for. But it's very wet. It's a natural environment. You're going to get algae, moss, potentially. Different spores from trees landing on your grate. Potentially you'll get different things trying to settle in your grate lines. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Brian, you mentioned about like granite as well. Then, over the last sort of 20, 30 years now, the paving has become thinner and thinner. Certainly, with the sandstone, some of it's down to sort of 16 mil, and that's not that good then, really, is it? Because if
you're going to seal a slab and you've got water coming up through the surface and it's 100% coated on the top of the surface, the thinner your slab is, the pressure that's being pushed up from the hydrostatic pressure, the more likely it is to crack.
Yeah, it is. So with sandstone, would you say it'd be good to pre-seal as well?
If you've got the time and the ability to do it, then yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because for when I'm working, when I'm laying sandstone, I always have a bucket of water next to me, and you can't help but get spillages of cement going on in places, but you end up sponging off. But you can clearly see from when it comes out of the package, which has come from the quarries in India, in this case, and you can see the colour changes within a couple of days.
Yeah, you've got to be careful with UV stabilized materials as well. So obviously a sandstone patio changes colour over time. You know that. You'll lay a patio 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, it'll be a slightly different shade to it was the day you laid it.
Right, okay.
But if you use a true sealer, the ones that I said I wouldn't recommend.
Right.
It is leaving a very thin coating on the surface of your slab.
Right.
It's not UV stabilized.
Right.
When the sun is emitting the UV rays onto the surface, then that can change colour over time.
Right, okay.
But if you haven't got a perfectly even coating, that means some slabs will change colour quicker than other slabs, and then you get uneven colour.
Yeah, I understand that. So would you, Ryan, this is fascinating stuff, and I think that at least when these contractors start building up their knowledge about sealers and this, they've got the tools in place to explain to their clients and tell them about the pros and cons, and just a little bit about it, and preempt the potential problems that could be caused if you don't seal.
Yeah, you've always got to think it's a natural product. It wants to be outside.
Right.
But if you don't seal, then it makes your life as a user much harder because cleaning it becomes very, very difficult.
Okay.
The stone doesn't want to be sealed. You're sealing it for your own personal uses, basically.
Yeah, look, right. I think what we got to think about is that we have got to think about COVID. But how soon do you think would it be possible? Could we do it through social distancing, or can we do some videos and some testing and some explanations of what we've talked about at some time in the future?
Yeah, of course. I'll get some samples delivered to the laboratory. We'll make up some sealers, some different types. Obviously, there's not going to be a one sealer fits every stone.
Right.
A different type of sealer for a sandstone than you would for a slate.
Okay.
Potentially, obviously you lay a lot of block paving. That's a different type of sealer again. But there's a sealer there that will work for each different type of material that you use.
Right, I know what's going to happen. That's what's going to come from this live feed. People are going to ask. They're going to ask questions, and I'm not going to be able to answer them. And I don't want to overload you with question after question. But is it possible that we can actually do a sort of a Q&A in the future as well? Because I know that you're going to be busy, but we could do it in the same way like this. Maybe through a call, or maybe we can do a video. But you'd definitely be interested in sort of like doing a Q&A in the future, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You're welcome down the laboratories, or I can come to the location, whatever suits you.
Okay, no problem. Ryan Boots, I just got to say, sir, thank you very much for joining us this morning for this live stream. It's very, very much appreciated. And on behalf of myself and all the viewers that are watching this, we want to wish you all the luck in the future.
Well, you're very welcome, John. Pleasure. Thank you very much.
No, listen, thank you very much. And I don't want to keep you any longer because otherwise you won't come back on here again.
No, it's fine. Let me know what's suitable for you, and we'll pencil in.
Well, I'm totally intrigued by this, and I'm sort of blown away by your knowledge. But obviously, it's your profession, it's what you do, and I really appreciate you giving your time. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Thanks, John.
Okay, have a great weekend. Take care. Be safe, Brian. Ta, Brian. Well, there you are. Ryan Boots, that was Ryan, and I asked Ryan some time ago if he'd be interested in getting involved in some capacity. He is on our landscaping survival forum on the group, and absolutely fascinating then listening to what he had to say. I know he's been watching for some time about the sealers, and he's looked into it and about what we're using and what we're potentially going to use and what other people are using out there. And he has a view on it, and he has a professional view that carries a lot of weight. So massive thank you to Ryan and Rebecca for allowing him to sort of give up some time with those guys. They've got a baby on the way and young family. We want to wish them all the best, and we don't want to cause them any stresses by getting them on this stream this morning and taking up too much of their time. I don't know. We've got lots of... I missed that. Oh, here we go. We got someone else now. Here we go. This is exciting. Hello.
Oh, is that John?
1 second. Hello?
Hello, is that John?
It certainly is. Who we got here now?
It's John Quinn from Apex Stone Sourcing Limited.
Hello, John. How are you, mate?
Very well, very well. How are you today, John?
John, I tell you now, mate, we've just had a chemist, Ryan Boots, just on here. I did Ryan's patio over a year ago now, and Ryan and Rebecca are both chemists, and there's nothing they don't know about sealers. I mean, it was mind-blowing, and he was just talking about it then. Fascinating topic. But, John, you've got lots of people watching this at the moment, and for the benefit of viewers, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, will do. Well, it sounds like I've missed an interesting topic there, John, so hopefully you can bring me up to speed on that at some point. But, my name's John Quinn. I've been involved in the landscaping industry for about the last 22 years now.
In what capacity, John? As what?
Well, I've had several different roles over the years, but I basically got involved with the landscaping industry through a company that probably everyone knows. I'm not going to mention them, but I joined them as a project consultant, focusing specifically on commercial specifications, which I believe up in central London. I worked for that company for a good number of years and enjoyed some involvement with some very, very prestigious projects along the way. Moving on from that, I worked directly for a UK natural stone quarry, where the yield was a very, very nice sandstone. And again, I was focusing mainly on sort of public realm type of work. So, local authority-led projects.
Right, okay. So where products that we're using in the landscape industry and domestic uses at some point is probably being used first in commercial aspects, haven't they?
Yes, indeed. So, in particular, York stones. I've had a lot of involvement with York stones over the years, and owing to that, I've grown very fond of them, shall we say. But as time sort of evolved, I've sort of started to become quite involved with the residential or domestic landscaping scheme, as well as maintaining my sort of interest in commercial projects. So,
right, okay.
Apex was formed about 3 years ago. So anyone who's got their own sort of supplying company or even, installers will understand that there's quite a journey from inception to being up and running in an operational sort of sense. And, we've got a superb range of products. I say that very humbly, but, on the quiet, I'm very, very proud of the products that we have. And, for example, we're still supplying York stones, but we're now very, very involved also with porcelains. Up until probably 5 years ago, and I say this to people when I meet them, I'm very, very much a natural stone orientated guy. But when I first came across porcelains, I had to look at them and I was like, well, they are considerably nice products.
Tell us about what, John. I love listening to you talk. Then I could talk to you all day, but tell us a little bit. Why do you like York stone so much? What's the thing about? Because when we talk about York stone, we have these images of Dickens times, a very old type of wearing course that we put down on the floor, and we take wearing courses what we walk on. We take them for granted. But why? What's your intrigue with York stone?
Okay, I think first and foremost, the fact that they are indigenous materials. I really like the fact that York stones are generally associated as being a quality product. And because of my involvement on, with continual sort of commercial use, I've seen firsthand that, the way in which these materials perform. And I have to say that I'm still very, very impressed with them even today. Is it
because they're very thick and robust? What is it about? Because what York stone is it a sandstone?
Most definitely it is.
Yeah.
Now, basically, all York stones are sandstones. But they, the true definition of a York stone, it comes from a very specific region within the Kent. So any offering you a sandstone, even if it's a UK one that doesn't come from that specific geographical, it's not a York. So, for example, we have a product within our offer that we call Gloucestershire sandstone. Now, in terms of technical personality, I call it, it is York stone. It was laid down at the same time as all the famous York stones that people know. But the fact that it comes from the Gloucestershire region means it doesn't qualify to have that type However, in terms of the technical properties and performance, there's not a lot in it. But something that I say to people as well, it's virtually impossible to generalise in terms of specific stones because I'll put it this way: a stone from a specific quarry will have its own personality, and that's how I put it. And by that I mean it will have its own very specific technical properties.
Okay.
So a quarry that will be 10 miles up the road from Quarry A, shall we say, it may look different, similar, but once it's been analysed in a very technical way, there will be a fluctuation in the technical properties of that material. But they're proven, and they have a very historical use, as I'm sure, everyone listening will be aware. And it seems that their popularity never seems to wane. Obviously, they don't find themselves generally on low budget projects, but for that, for a project that is looking for that thing a little bit special and nice, I'd always pull your out to discuss with the customer.
John, how do you maintain the continuity of the stone that you're pulling out of the quarries? Like, for example, that you've been laying stone and the customer wants, another 30 meters. They want to extend around the corner, and somebody comes back to you and says, can we get the same sort of stuff again? Can you maintain that it's going to be the same or no?
It depends on the timescale between the installation of the first batch of the stone.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, there will be an accepted variation from the quarry. A very, very important element to the installation materials, such as your stuff, will be to ensure that you provide a good mix from pallets on site. So, obviously, each block that's active will have its own individual identity. Once that's sorted, it will be different from the next block. So good practice really would be to mix those pallets on. So I don't really see, I can give you an example. In central London, there is a very particular York stone which has predominant use. And the supplier of that material has been doing so for many, many years. And there is no real obvious difference in batches, so. But of course, it's a natural product. There is some natural variation, and it will be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. John, what you probably need to do is to go back to this video after, and I can't read all the questions out, but you can go back on there and you can have a look, and maybe you would like to respond to it on the Green Tops Landscape channel. Just moving on, just briefly now. A lot of the stone that you're laying, is it generally in London or is it across the country?
Pretty much here, there, and everywhere, John. At the moment, we've got projects in Kent, Essex, Berkshire, Buckinghamshire, Yorkshire. I would say my activities or our activities as Apex are generally focused.
Hello?
Are you still there, John?
Yeah, I got you. Just went quiet there for a minute, like John. So that's fine. Look, we could talk all day, couldn't we, about like York Stone and what a beautiful product it is. Like, what other products do you actually do? Just run through them for us. Just tell us what other products you supply.
Okay, so granites from Europe predominantly. We've got a real focus on Portuguese granites now.
Okay. Are they nice? So nice looking granites?
Very, 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 very good quality. Again, all our products are CE marked and have the relevant technical paperwork to accompany them. So we supplying in terms of its long-term or lifetime usage, shall we say.
Right.
So limestones, So limestone has been supplied from in Europe and the UK. Some very, very nice materials there.
Let me just ask a question, because I know these are the things that people are going to ask, John. How do the imported products, you know, like the limestones and the sandstones, how do they compare, the imported, in price in comparison to the UK produced products?
I would say, on the whole, and certainly specific to limestone, they tend a bit slightly cheaper from Europe than the indigenous counterparts. You know, of course, I'm talking about Portlands and that type of thing. So I would say, you know, again, they're different stones. So again, I look at on a very, very individual. You know, Portland a very if you like, you know, it's a very individual character, Portland stone. There are jobs, again, say in central London, that, you know, good planning and these type of restrictions won't allow material. You know, and it tends to be up at the high of the price bracket.
Okay.
Where in Portugal, there are some fantastic stones, you know, very wide range of like stones, but, you know...
are they relatively new to the market, the Portuguese stuff, John? Are they sort of like fresh and new in comparison to a lot of the other stuff, the Portuguese products?
Not really. They've been around for a very long time. Very, very long time. Generally, you know, I would say they've had very little exposure on the sort of residential marketplace.
Right.
You know, you're just not seeing, which is a shame, because I think people became aware of that. We'd see it, you know, an increased demand for them on the residential side.
Okay, John. Okay. Look, John, I got to say, we need to talk about this sometime again in the future. And would you consider having a meetup so we could actually get a little bit more and maybe look at some of your samples? Would you fancy doing that in the future?
John, I'd be very, very willing to participate in that. You know, it's good to have a chat, but you know as well as I do, it's all, you know, stone is, you know, the beauty is something that you look at. Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Just talking on a podcast like this, you're not going to get the information out. It'd be great to get together and have a look at some of those products. And well, I think it's only fair that your products should be sort of exposed to the landscaping community on my YouTube channel, because they can make more informed decisions about supplying their clients and presenting to their clients of what's available and what's on the market.
Yes, indeed. And you know, if I can be part of widening people's sort of choice of materials that they can offer, I'd be very, very happy.
No problem at all. John, can you just tell us, if people wanted to have a look at your products and go online, can you tell us what the website is, please?
Yes, indeed. It's www.apexstonesourcing, one word, .com.
Okay, Apex Stone
Sourcing.
.com. Well, what I'll do, John, is I will put your details in the links on this video in the near future, so people, if you're looking and you want to have a look at some of John's products, you can get on there and have a look. John, I just got to say thank you very much for calling this morning. We're going to have to cut you short now because we may be having another caller, but we're approaching that time when we got to say goodbye. So John Quinn, thank you very much, and have a great weekend.
I appreciate your time, John, and thank you very much for you know, taking the time to
make sure you watch this video. I want you to listen to it. Okay.
Superb. I will do. Thanks, John.
Take care, John. Be lucky. Thanks very much.
Cheers, John.
Well, there you are. That was John Quinn from ApexStoneSourcing.com. Go on there and have a look. It's amazing that the amounts of different products that are actually coming into the marketplace now, and they've been there for some time, but we just don't see it, you know. And That's the thing about social media, is that it allows us to actually have access to these products by seeing them, and maybe we get some samples as well. But it's so important to share and get involved about what's going on out there in the world of landscaping, and this social media allows us to do that. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's actually joined this morning. It's been intriguing, and I just want your feedback on how you feel that these podcasts should go. We're going to continue now for some time with the Saturday morning lives, because it's important, okay? But I could do, and I'd appreciate your feedback on how you feel they're going. I know that we only have a certain number of people that actually join the live stream, but we are gaining some traction on the YouTube channel. When I look at the videos and at the lives, the audience is actually is going up. We're getting more and more each week, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we want. That's the idea, and it's not certainly about clickbait. And when I look at the views on here, when we first started, we were at 400, and it's gone up to 800 views now. And if we can increase the numbers, then we're getting the message out there. It was so good having Ryan on here. I mean, I think that's the real hot topic at the moment, is how you maintain the look of your paving once it's being laid. It's so important that you've invested some money into a product, and you want it to look as good as the day it was laid. So John Ward says, Brill Products, John, if you need me to join the live stream to offer my opinion. John, in the trade, willing to help with all and get involved. John, I'd love to get you on the live stream. Maybe what we can do is get you on here with a call, or maybe we can do a live. I'm honest, I'm really finding out at the moment technically how to use all these platforms and how we get the information out there. But it's great to see John there wanting to get involved. So I really appreciate it. John, maybe we need a chat anyway. We need to talk. Leanne said, mate, they are so interesting, like everything you do, mate. No, Lee, listen, I appreciate it. All I'm doing is sharing my knowledge. There are so many guys, there's a culture of not wanting to share what we're doing, and it's sad, because there's nothing wrong. How is anyone going to learn? It's no one's going to take from you by, and nobody's going to get one over you because you've given some information out. If you've got anything to say, or you want to get involved in the live streams, or you want to talk to me anytime, just drop me an email, info@landscapeandsurvival.com or info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. Gareth Jones says, keep them coming, mates. So interesting to hear discussions from a wide range of experts. Yeah, it does. I'll tell you now, it's good to listen to John, but I'll tell you now, I am intrigued about the sealers. When we were working at Lee, Ryan, Boots, and Rebecca's house, it was absolutely fascinating. What he didn't know about sealers was just incredible, because it's the science, it's the facts behind it. These are the people that carry a lot of weight what they're actually talking about. So really interesting getting Ryan on here, and maybe at some time in the future we'll get Rebecca as well, because she knows her stuff as well. It's we're going to get down to the laboratory, and we're going to be doing some testing, and we'll be able to show that. We'll be able to share it on every social media platform. If you've enjoyed the live feed, give us a thumbs up, and if you want to drop us a message, you can either drop it on YouTube or go to Green Top Landscapes, info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk, or the Landscape and Survival website if you're a landscaper or a contractor and you want to know a little bit more about landscaping. Some of the guys on that landscaping forum is mind-blowing. And we got to say, our thoughts go to Nicholas McCarthy, who's still in hospital at the moment. Nick, if you're watching this live stream, get better. We want you back. We need you. Your knowledge is second to none. And of course, Glenn Humphreys. Glenn is gone in for a procedure today, so we'll be thinking, or yesterday. I'm going to be dropping Glenn a message there. Fantastic, inspirational landscaper, a little bit like Nicholas McCarthy as well. So great to have him on here. lots of messages coming in. I can't read them all. We're approaching that time. We're on the hour, and we've got 30 seconds now. So thanks to everyone for joining. And once again, just keep the information coming back. If there's anything that you feel that we can move forward, that we can benefit from this channel, and things that we should be talking about, things that you want to know about, just let me know. Thanks for joining. Really, really appreciate it. It's going to be dry next week. Fingers crossed we'll be able to progress. Alison did say to me about, before you go, about, we've just gone on over the hour, and we're going to stay with this just for a minute, about if you are a member of the public or a consumer thinking about getting a job done, the industry is changed massively through this COVID period, and you'll find that some of the really good guys they're booked up so far in advance. And I think really, if you're going to think about investing money, you need to start thinking now. And if you haven't got somebody to come and see you now, I don't think that in some cases you're not going to get it done to the end of the summer. And usually the really good ones are massively booked up in front. It doesn't mean to say that the ones who aren't booked aren't good as well. It's just how they manage it. So try and book early, okay? Or if you really want somebody really good to do your job, you may have to think about next year. That's it. It's over. Thanks for joining. I've said it. Be safe. Have a great weekend. And as I always say, just be kind. See you soon. Bye.